Good afternoon. It's 1700 on Sunday or another, Monday afternoon, the 6th of July, 2026. Welcome to Risk Neutral Trading. This is my Globex version of the stream. The full RTH session, 7-hour stream, just concluded at 1600, or well, 1500. So here we go. We're going to see whether there's any interesting opportunities in the Globex opening range breakout trades. Now, this is my virtual journal. Everything that you will see here on my screens is captured in the video, and my voiceover provides insight as to what I was thinking at that moment, and that's how it works. This is IRT and my basic charting platform, and this is Bookmap, which is the execution platform. I only trade vetted setup, and I only trade live real time in the stream. I don't take any trades off of the stream. You'll never see a replay. You'll never see a playback or well, of course, if you watch the stream at a later date than today, you're going to see it will be a video, obviously, but get the point, I'm sure. Now, having said all of that, the stream is not for financial or trade advice, and there is a disclaimer in our description. There's a disclaimer in the description. Please read that. So we're off and running here already. We have the high and the low of this opening range so far, and we've got our percentages broken down in there, which come from my IRT settings, and this is the first print of the Globex session, which is I refer to it as Blue Boy there. I'm going to put that on there again because I didn't get it quite right, I don't think. Looks pretty good. Now, the basic approach here from my point of view is to trade data-driven. What am I doing here? Hold on. Let's do this. Okay, now we're going to do the based on data-driven trades or setups, and I use a couple of ways to do that. I'll explain as we go along here, but right now I just want to make sure everything's sticking over okay and working fine, and it looks okie dokie. This is IRT. This is Bookmap, obviously. We have Blue Boy on the job, and in order to trade with Bookmap, I need to select an account, and then I need to flesh out the entry system and make sure the stats are on the right journal, and they're not. Now they are. Multi-brackets, going to use the risk neutral 2-lot high volatility, and we're going to trade multiple accounts. I'll explain why I'm doing this lucid thing at the moment, in a little bit. It's to do with return on investment and risk management, basically, while I'm in a testing and a development phase. So risk management is the king, and it's the key, especially in this environment. Now, these levels and these percentages here, come from, first, let me just quickly explain this, the orb high and the orb low. And that's the high and low of the first 1 hour. And these are percentages, 25, 50%, 25 of this range. And they will, of course, they're dynamic. The columns in Bookmap are as follows. This is the micro. Well, let's start with IRT, and I'll run it over just like normal, like the daily session. This is Investor RT. This is the micro tab. And the first thing about it, IRT, is if you notice in the header of every one of these charts, there is the instrument, periodicity, chart type, and the session. So you always know what you're looking at. And there is this is the micro ES, micro NQ, the micro ES high time frame or micro composite chart. And this is the market profile for the ES. I don't change it back and forth from mini to micro. And I have a similar tab over here for the minis. And I've just removed this market profile, trying to see if I could reduce some of the load and not have such lags during the RTH session. We'll see what happens. It's this chart, same chart. So the way this higher time frame works, it is for the micros, and again, micro, daily time frame, daily session. So each one of these candles represents one full RTH trading session. This is the session that just ended. This was Thursday last week. These, wherever price overlaps, I continue to pull the volume profile around them, and that generates a micro composite volume profile. So I get the micro composite VPOC, I get the high and low volume nodes, which are represented by these red and green lines. Those values are pushed automatically to Bookmap, as are the session prices. Bookmap, micro composite column, where I manually enter notable levels, naked volume points of control, that kind of thing over here. This is the full session volume profile, which just started plotting now at 1700. And this is the RTH volume and profile and delta. These are my statistics, and they're real important to me. I determine the statistic open type in the morning and during the pre-market before the market opens, and then we go get these statistics for this open type for this corresponding price levels every morning. This is the IRT session prices, which push automatically. And these are the full level 2 book, ask, and bid, and then the session prices. There's no indicators over here anywhere. There are just volume, probabilities and statistics, and price. There you go. Keep it simple, stupid. There we are. And so this is the POC, which is nothing complicated. It's just the price at which the most contracts have traded so far in the session. So 75.97, we've traded 210 contracts. That's the most so far. The minute one of these other prices trades 212, this line will move there. That simple. Really easy. And this is the VWAP, and then there's mid and things for the similar for the RTH, but we're not there yet, so here we are. Now we need to start thinking about, because this isn't, usually I have 30 minutes of pre-market before the session opens, so I can take my time to do this setup and descriptions and things, but we need to get cooking here. So here's our ORB, or our orb high and low, and then the percentages. And as I said before, those come from this particular chart. They're pushed here from this chart visualization, which is visualization tool for this trading strategy. And these are based on the Edgeful data tools, which I'm trying to make a lot of use of to expedite development of strategies. And Edgeful is this. Now, the first thing we need to do is make sure we're on the right report. So we are on the initial balance breakout. Okay. Let's get to the daily by weekday. We want to make sure we're on the MES, and we want to make sure we're at about 6 months to a year, so we have enough data for meaningful statistics. What this tells us, oh, and you see what I didn't change yet was the I didn't change this. I had interesting issues last night, and we are going to be trading for Tuesday because this is Tuesday's trade. Now let's look at this one. This time frame from Asia is exactly the same data as this should be. So let's see if this remains the same. Absolutely not. And I cannot explain that, but I need to get with the Edgeful data people and have them explain to me why this is not the same. I know that one of the things they mention is that if you use other than New York or Chicago over here, in other words, in ISA or in the US, that there can be discrepancies based on the daylight savings, that thing. But I'm going to stick with US for now. So here we go. We've got the 61% probability of a single break, 38 or 3% we're going to double break, and 34% neither one. For Tuesday, on the MES, looking back 6 months in this brief session. And also, part and parcel of Edgeful, once you have a subscription to it, you get access to something that I find real helpful. And that's all these Edgeful indicators right here. Now, for TradingView, and I was not a TradingView user particularly, but I find it real convenient. And I need to change a couple things. I need to change this dashboard, which was from today's initial balance. I need to shut that off and turn on the dashboard for the this first Globex, and then we'll do Asia, and then we'll go to bed. There we go. So it's forming. Right now it's been 4 points. And there we have it. And you see it right there before you. There's the orb high, the orb low, and so far where we are. This was the IB for today. This was my big missed trade. Boy, was it a perfect setup per the data. And I just didn't catch it. The first thing we're going to look at here is which level forms first. At this moment, they're both off the same thing. You would say that it was the low that formed first because we opened here and we closed up here. Assuming it went down first, whatever, right? But we can wait and see. It's not a rush. So there we are. We are at whatever point we can be at this time, anticipating what we're going to see on the data and how we might trade it. And this is just a visualization again. I'm going to say I'll be amazed if we don't trade up, because there was, get some more higher ground, because there was no excess on the top. And that's typically an incomplete auction, and they would trade higher. That's my guess. Will I trade on that? No, it's not, there's no data. Stand around and watch these charts long enough, you start seeing stuff like that. Now, the reason for Blue Boy here, in case I didn't mention that earlier, is it's just a vertical line that I put on the first print of each session. And this is the inside market. This is right here, right now, current. So if I have Blue Boy over here and I can see it, glance left, and I know that this is now, there's no possible way I cannot understand or have a concept of the session, the complete session so far. There's the beginning, and here we are currently. This is what happened so far. No question about it. That is so weird. I noticed that yesterday, and it's a big difference too. I don't know. I gotta send that support a question. So here we are, and what are we? Well, we're right on the even number. Now, this was a real interesting level, because there was let me see if we can see it. This liquidity right here came into the book exactly at that level at the opening print of the ETH session yesterday. And I could prove it. That's one thing about Bookmap. There you are. That liquidity came into the book at the opening print yesterday. It stayed there all day, and the market came up and tagged it out finally, about 3-ish, 3 something. And then now we're trading right back to it again. Even though the price action dropped down here and back up here and all this kind of stuff in the period of time between 1500 and 1600 when the market closed. It's interesting. I'm assuming it's a option level of some sort, strike or a put wall or a call wall or a So we're kind of in the hole now. This is kind of what happens. We just have to wait for the. I have to wait for the. Statistic to form, right? I have to wait for the orb to form. In my case, I use the same period of time, 1 hour, same as the initial balance. And they're banging on the top, aren't they? They're going to get up for that, I would suppose, previous RTH high, I guess. Which is just where we stopped. This was the high a few minutes ago. So I'm thinking they're going to head up that way. POC is dancing all over the place and migrating up slowly, gradually. Wish it would cut loose and rain. It's been hotter and stink around here lately. If I didn't know better, I'd say the market broke. This thing hasn't moved, and there we go. Gonna go, wait a minute here. And this particular opening range here is often crap, but it's trading up just as I suspected. Well, we're coming up on that first 30 minutes here. That means exactly nothing, but you know. So quite clearly, we put in the IB or the orb low first, right? There's the first level set. Because here's the orb high, it's just extended. So that's important in the data for Edgeful. That's important for their data. And that comes into play here on this report. Notice the orb high formed first, orb low formed first. I use the IB indicator. They actually do have an orb indicator, but I like the IB one because I have it set up the way I want it, and it's got a few more filtering options, I believe. So that's why I just stick with the one. So here we are. The low formed first in 6 months. There's a 50% probability that we will break the orb high first. Now, we might want to get a little more data on that, on the situation. Still pretty light. Ah, yes. And we need to do some customization fixes here. We don't know the ending zone yet, so that's got to be all days. And it's not for Monday anymore. That was yesterday. We're now working on Tuesday's trade, huh? So, look at there. What a difference. And of course, whichever zone formed first can change many times within this 1 hour period. If we go down and put in a new low, then all of a sudden the opening range high will have been formed first. So we just kind of stand here and wait for the data. All right, we've rounded the corner and headed for the top of the hour when we will have the orb in place. Oh boy, oh boy. So exciting. And I can't quit yawning. I don't know what the hell's going on. So welcome to the stream. Remember, this is my virtual trading journal. So I trade live, real time, if this trade presents itself that I have previously determined to have a expectancy and edge by doing the homework, back testing, then forward testing. The idea is that I capture everything on my video here on both of my primary screens, the bookmap and IRT, and then my voiceover provides insight as to what I was thinking, so I get the complete, fully transparent and fully accountable recording and journal. Works good. Like and subscribe and thumbs up would be great. Drop something in the chat, say hello, or who are you, where are you? I see a lot of people come through, but I don't see any small percentage tributes, I guess. And that's fine. Whatever you want. Welcome, by the way. I'm not getting any random geopolitical input. What do we have here? Don't really see anything particular. Trump's talking about Walmart's going to lower the price of ground beef. That's good. That's good. Every little bit helps in these trying times. At this time, I start thinking about range requirement, meat on the bone, whatever you want to call it. What do we have here now? We have 95 to 9601. So we've got 6 handles across here. That's only a couple of point and a half or so between each one of these zones. That's not enough meat on the bone. Doesn't justify risk, putting on risk. 98 and a half to 99 and a quarter. So it's point and a quarter, right? That's not gonna fly, baby. No, that's just, who knows? We are not there yet, but even if you got a pullback, which is typical to the 50% line, you're talking about 2.5 points. Ridiculous. So this is a non thing tonight. This one, Asia, could be completely different, of course. And they could open this thing up. They've got 20 more minutes. All I have to do is take it up or take it down some distance, and then we get, it starts to widen out. Here's the initial balance today, and this is what we got so far. Just to give you some idea about the scale of it. And should be pretty obvious there too. Not surprising at all. Again, here's the IB. Oh, here's the IB from this morning, and here we are so far. This entire orb fits inside of one zone in the IB this morning. That's not normal. Typically, for example, here's the Asian orb. Here's the Globex. Here's Globex. Let's see, what are those? 23.5 to 35, right? Yeah. There's like 12 handles across there. That's reasonable. So far, we're at 5 points wide, 5.75 points wide. It is what it is. This is the market. Trading is not an adrenaline-packed video game. To trade as a business, you know, trade for the hell of it, for fun. Get the NASDAQ up here and start clicking that mouse, baby. But it's not. That's not what I'm. The point here. So that's not what I'm doing. So I don't really feel the need to be, you know, I don't want to be a disc jockey. I want to make sure that I get my thinking around the trading into the recording. That's the whole point. But I'm not, you know, I don't feel driven to be a disc jockey. That's not the point. That's not the point either. Now we're going to come down and take out the low here, I would say. And if we do so, that means that all of a sudden, the initial balance high will be formed first. Right? Like I said, they can open this range up a lot if they decide to. And then there they are. Now our data will turn on its head because the initial balance low has been now extended. And that means that over here, instead of this, we're going to be looking. We're going to be looking at this one because the initial balance low has been extended. So now the high was formed first. Right here. A minute ago, the low was formed first because here the high had been extended. Now the low has been extended. So now the high has been formed, is the first level formed. For the purposes of the data. Right here. And it would be confirmed up here. Boom, boom. There you go. And it does make quite a bit of difference. Look at the difference here, you know. And once the ending zone is in, it can make a huge difference, and that also widens out the range so that there becomes more meat on the bone. You know, these are dynamic, just percentages of the range. So the wider the range, then these, you know, spread out accordingly and become more active, more from a trading point of view. Not much still, but, you know, at least we're talking about a point and change. We're talking about less than 2 points. Well, if you've got to get halfway across halfway across the orb to pick up 4 points, that may not be something I'm interested in because I don't trade If you're trading size and you're scalping like that, that's okay. But that's not the point of this exercise. Maybe it should be. Maybe that's a good point. I don't know. Maybe that's a good approach. They better hurry. This is going to be a long 2 hours. They had better hurry. They've got 9 minutes. And that's not a tradable. It's not tradable. It's 6 1/4, you know. 6 and fifth, 6th and an 8th point, 1 and an 8th points for stupid. Stupid. I wouldn't know what in the world actually the market was thinking about. Other than it got pretty high today off nothing, for no reason. Other than you might make a case for a squeeze, I guess. Here we are today. Here's yesterday. Here's Thursday. Here's today. Why? They're laying off thousands of people. Prices are still going through the roof. The war is, who knows what the hell's going on with that. I don't see any, data centers are not being built or opened, and I'd say the AI bubble is on the verge of at least a pullback, if not a collapse or a pop. Yeah, I don't know. Unemployment is, they predicted 170 or something non-farm payroll, and there was 50. I mean, I don't see any, I haven't seen a reason for this irrational exuberance with all-time highs for the longest time. So I've been wondering when somebody was gonna wake up and go, but wait, this isn't a good thing. We're pushing the lows down though. That's good. They keep widening that low out. That's good for us tonight. They mess around, we might actually get to a situation where we could put a trade on. I don't think so. I'm certainly not going to try to front run anything on in these, especially this Globex orb. Maybe the Tokyo, the Asia orb was a little more active when the Asia comes online at 1900. But this thing is, who knows, 6 guys in a pickup truck doing the trading. Who knows? I don't think they've widened it out much. They might have taken it down a little bit, but they better hurry because they've only got 5 minutes left. Yeah, they took it down 2 more quarters, so it's 6 3/4 now. Rather than, you can't even get it to, can't even get it to 8 or 10. That's a pretty narrow story. Not something I could trade. That's depressing. I don't like being here without anything, and that's the problem. That's where you can really run into a monkey boy problem. When you start seeing patterns and get FOMO and antsy and making up reasons to trade. That's dangerous. I refer to it as monkey boy. Now we did push down a little bit, so we've got 7 points now wide, and we got another 4 minutes, so they could get another couple, but I don't know. No, I don't have high hopes for it. Let's put it that way. Don't have high hopes for it. Monkey boy is something we're never going to get over because it's part of our DNA. But what you must do as a trader, in my opinion, or at least I have to be constantly vigilant about what I'm feeling. Is this is this FOMO? Is this adrenaline? Is this dopamine? Is this what? Is monkey boy acting up? Because it's so insidious and easy to slide into. And then, you look at the trade after and you go, what the hell was I thinking? Who did that? And monkey boy's over in the corner laughing at you. Well, they're going to set the orb here in another couple of minutes, and they keep ticking it down. They might get it down there. They got 3 more points to get 10 on it. Eight and a quarter so far. And the high continues to be formed first, very definitely. So we'll be able to use that data and pick up the closing ending zone filter in a couple of minutes. Mm-hmm. About a minute or so now. The way this closing or ending zone thing works is you assign the percentages to the zones opposite they first formed, which is the low, which is the high. So it would be 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. And it's the zone is decided by the closing price of the last bar to close within the IB. Now there'll be a bar that'll open in the IB, but it will close out of it. So this would be the bar right here, and wherever this bar closes, and right now it's the 0 to 25. So that's the most innocuous, should say least impact, as you can imagine, on the data, because it's only 0 to 25%. So there we go. And you see how the orb formed? And there we are, and that's 0 to 25%. So we duck back over here real quick, and we can put in 0 to 25% right there. Watch what we've got. 49 and whatever that says, 49 and 18. 16, sorry about that. And we've got 24. Okay, 42 and 14. But this is low, so this is the high formed first. So we have 53% probability that we're going to take the IB low out first. And then we can look at the retrace and those probabilities, which will be coming right up. Well, we haven't taken it out yet, and this is where people get real anxious and start trying to front run it. Where the next order of business for filters is the retracement. So, assuming that the IB low is broken first, and all else being the same, except I need to get the right days going on over here. The IB low is broken first. There is a 73% probability that we'll retrace to the 25% level, and 34% we retrace to the 50. What does that mean? Well, that means that come down here and take the IB low. This is 73% probability, right? Something like that. There's a 73% probability that price will retrace to the 25. 34% probability it retraces to the 50. What a lot of people fall in the trap, a lot of people get into is like right now. So they'll think, well, I'm going to go back and look at this. I'm going to look at my rejection, and I'm going to say, well, there's a 52% probability that I am going to get the IB low first. So I'm going to front run this from the mid, and they'll throw on a short to front run down here to the like that mid in this Globex up here, which it just hit. They would front run that short. I'm tempted to do it right now, frankly. Except for the fact that you don't know what's going to happen. There's still a 25% probability we're going to take the IB high, the orb high. It's not zero, right? And right now we're over the top of it. So I tend to stick with the statistics as they play out, which is that after we take the breakout, we get the 20, and then I would have taken a short in here someplace, but I feel like throwing a short on now just to see what the hell happened. I'm just tired of standing around here, but that's not good trading. And it's only a 50% probability that we're going to take the low. Well, you know, what happened to that other bunch of percent? That means we're going to take the high. So it's about a coin flip right here. Are you feeling lucky, punk? And you can start making all the cases. Oh, well, we, reversal, we higher lows, higher highs, blah, 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 blah. All the same traderisms that we all know. But as far as I'm concerned, we're at the 50% line. And there's a 52% we're going to take the low. That means there's a 48% we're going to take the high. Actually, it says 23% based on this data. But, okay. Based on 2 years data, under these same exact circumstances, there's a 25%, 24% we break the high, and a 53% we break the low. But I don't think that's worth front running. This is this data is looking back at the data. It's not looking at any of the. Here, let's look at shorter time frame and see what happened. Let's look at 6 months and see if anybody's home. Even more so, 50 and 16. I was going to say, the random environment and craziness that's going on in DC and everywhere. So I'm going to sit here on my fat little fingers and just SOH, baby. Boring, I realize. It's got to be on mine. Got to be me. I just got through doing this for, 8+ hours a minute ago. So we'll stick with where we are, and then assuming we take the IB low, who the hell knows, we'll have those retrace probabilities to work on. And there's our orb. It is set right here, of course. We got that all figured out, in case you missed that when maybe I didn't say that, but there's our ending zone, and here we are. Oop. Didn't want to do that. What do I want to do? Let's look over here. There we go. I read something about why you shouldn't stream your whole monitor, just the application. I do it for transparency, so everybody can see what programs are operational and the system clock to the second and the date and tie it back over here. But there was a reason when I was trying to clean up and assign data, computational resources to these 3 programs, so that I would not have this lag story. One of the suggestions was just stream the application, not the monitor. So, but that would kind of ruin one of my accountability pieces. They're going to break it down and take the low out? Probably. There's a 50% chance they will. 52%. One thing that I have definitely noticed is this orb, this Globex orb, can get real boring real quick. And now that look at them here now. And there seems to be a bunch of movement just going into the Asia Open, which is perfectly normal. Perfectly to be expected. Now, what you can do right here, if you wanted to front run this thing, you put your order on right here, and you put the stop right there, and you put your target right there. It's 1-to-1. You're either going to get stopped or you're going to get 1-to-1. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Especially when you're talking about 8 points. So you're only talking about 4 points. Not much meat on the bone, as they say. I am definitely not going to do this one anymore. I might continue the Globex stream for Asia, but I'm not going to do this. I'm sorry, the opening range breakout trade for Asia, but I'm not going to do this one. It's just, there hasn't been anything. And it's light. Oh, that's another question. Let's look at this. I'll bet you. Let's look at the volume. What do you think? 44% volume. Yeah. That's a landmine. So I'm not going to do this one anymore. I will do the, I'll do the 7 o'clock, 1900 till about 2030 or 2100 maybe. But I'm not going to do this anymore. It's a waste of time and effort and energy, and there's no future in it, I don't think. And it was just an experiment, guys. Typically, this is the period of time when I do my homework, work on vetting trades and coding, getting strategies put together and stuff like that. So this is also encroached on that time, which I also need to weigh the cost-benefit analysis over this, and that's why I'm nixing this Globex, because it's not. I've taken one trade in this Globex study. It was in this Globex session, however, but so what? After 4.5 or 5 weeks, stupid. Stupid. I'm not going to do that anymore. Now, we'll see. We'll see how Tokyo looks and how I feel about that. Or Asia, I should say. Tokyo. I have it set to the Tokyo time zone, so I just stuck in my head. And that will also eliminate my need to worry about the damn session. I still want to ask those tech guys what the hell's going on with that, because it doesn't look right and it doesn't seem to be accurate data. To me. What do we got? Hi, Panda. How are you? My big kitty. What are you doing? Huh? Are they going to come down and take the IB, the low? Looks like it, huh? So that 52% is going to come to pass. How amazing. How great. How wonderful. So excited. I'm going to get another glass of tea while they're busy doing that. All right, so going forward, there will not be an Globex ORB. It will be Asia. Probably one of the better ones to trade besides US is London, but I ain't getting up at 2 in the morning to see what those limeys are up to. They're up to no good most of the time. There we go. Bang. Get that bad boy. now we're going to be in a situation where we need to be looking at the we need to be looking at something. I don't know what. We need to be looking at the retracement. There we go. And there we've just taken the orb. Now, if you don't believe me, I can show you right there where it says, yes, the low was broken. You see that? Boom. Pretty cool. I got to tell you, I am really, I'm impressed with how slick that trading view is to use, how user friendly and quick. I don't know about, detailed stuff like I use IRT for, but man, for just zooming around and back and forth, it's slicker than a whistle. So here we are. Now there's oh, this is ridiculous. Huh? There's 100% probability we're going to retrace to the 25. That's saying something. And there's a 66% probability we're going to make it to the 50 line. And 33% we're going to get to 75%, which is where the POC happens to be living. Well, after that, how can we think about or predict? Okay, so one of the questions is, let's say we take 100% of the 25 and 66% we get to the 50. Now what do? You go short or long. Who says that we're going to continue in the breakout, okay? And what the way you can use the data, where am I? Okay, the way you can use this data is the opposite. L'envers. Okay, so we have 100% probability we're going to get from here to here, and 66% we're going to get to here. So put on a mean reversion, trade the outside in, go long. That is a very real possibility with this data. I don't know that I would want to do that at this moment, but I could put on a asymmetric trade. The only thing that worries me is this is that Globex thing, and they goof it around and position it for Asia. Now, an asymmetric trade would be possible, where you just get long right here and put your stop right there. And if it goes there at 2 ticks or whatever it is, you're damn sure out of it. It's wrong. It didn't work. This is settlement too, by the way. I typically always think about the retrace and trading in the direction of the move, but there's a very real trading philosophy around mean reversion. I mean, a lot of people do that, and me too. But with this data, I've always been thinking about it in terms of continuation. Where am I? I'm on one, okay. What I was going to do now is look at the next report, which I don't do very frequently, called levels. Something went wrong. Okay. Don't know what went wrong, but that's kind of annoying. Levels. Let's see about levels again. Now where are we? Initial. Let's customize retrace. Levels. They must be doing something to levels. I keep getting the same thing. I keep getting something went wrong over here, so never mind. What these levels are is that report typically. Oh, maybe there's no data because of this orb. It would say, okay, if there's and look at this has changed. This is now 51% and 30%, not 100%. Do you see that? Well, this 51% makes a hell of a lot more sense than 100% does. But it very definitely said that. And it's in the stream, so if anybody wants to argue with me, there it is. What I was getting around to saying was that with these levels, they show percentages or standard deviations outside of the range for continuation. I don't know if something's changed now, or redoing their data, or who knows what, but let's see if we can get levels to work. Now. No. Okay, let's try something else. Yeah, well, we're any size orb, so we're going to have to change that. Let's see if levels works. That's what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, there are the levels. So it's that based on that stupid time zone thing again, but these are the levels when the all days breakout. We can search for the day, breakout, breakdown. So it's a breakdown. So these are the percentages that we're going to achieve these standard deviations. But I'm sure there's there's a little bit of data down there. I was going to say very few occurrences. That would be my guess. But let's go back to Electric Avenue. There you go. And let's put this back on this thing. And there we are. We didn't get there. So our mean reversion trade would be looking kind of dismal at the moment. And what I'm going to do is pretty much quit worrying about this until 1900. Well, I don't have that far to go. It's only, damn near bottom of the hour anyway. And then we'll pay attention to Asia. And going forward, I'm not going to put this one on. This orb, I won't stream it. I'm going to just stream from 1900. And if I don't start getting some results there, I'll cut that one out too. By golly. Well, we can do a few things here. We can put the naked volume point of control down there. What day is this? 6/06/07/26. Damn. The reason I am fixated on this, I just put this naked volume point of control flag down here. That's how I do them. It's just real simple. You add it over here. That doesn't work very good sometimes. Just add this one, and that's all there's to it. And then I encode the date on the end so I can tell when that was from. What I was going to say was that the reason I am a stickler about these sessions is I want to know these probabilities in this session. I don't, if I wanted to use Asia or the Globex or the ETH, well, okay. But I'm not interested in how often when these retracements happen at 4 o'clock in the morning, or what the probability of, what the probability of this is at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's why I'm a stickler with those time zones, or those sessions, but it doesn't seem to be playing well. I'm sure it's just got to do with when their data updates, and maybe it does, look back. Maybe it needs to swing past midnight to a next day in order to do something. I don't know, but anyway, there we are. Here we are, stuck in the car. Bottom of the hour in another couple minutes, and then we got 30 minutes. What I have done over the weekend was to develop a trading system, Pine script or whatever they call it thing. Very descriptive, I guess, wasn't it? I'm going to shut that down, and I'll get rid of this, and I think it should open without any problem. And that's this thing right here. Now, what I'm going to do is need to set it up first, because now I have it for, this is for the RTH. So what I want to do is set this thing up for, this is a pain in the ass. I got to do this every day, every time. Bleh. So this is going to be 1900 to, let's make it 1900 to, I don't know, 12, something or another. I don't want it to be the whole Asia. I guess it doesn't matter. Why not? What is Asia? It's 1900 to, you see how it marks out the trades? Pretty cool. 1900, where'd it go? 1900 to 0400, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So let's make it 0400. And the initial balance is 1900 to 2000. And I'm going to have it be in points, and I want a minimum initial balance here of size of 10 points. It might be pretty small. Let's see, what do we got here? Might better make it 5, I guess. And maximum IB filter, which would play into your risk management. But let's just see how this thing works. Well, let's make it, you know, I don't know, something stupid. Make it 30. It's doing all kinds of jumping around down here about something. I don't know. And we're going to take a retracement to the 25. We're going to have a stop loss of that 50% of the range. Then we're going to do a 100% of the range for take T1 and 100% for T2. So those are both going to come off at the same time. I have no idea how it's going to work out, and we're measuring by the wick. So there we go. Now, that will play out and be graphed down here, and there's all this kind of stuff going on, dashboardy things. And yeah, I was pretty happy to get it finally coded up and working, and that was kind of cool. So this should take trades automatically. You saw where some of those were blue lines and T1 and a bunch of stuff. And we can shut this down now to show where we are. And the next one would be the initial balance if there was a trade taken there. Or no, Asia. If there was a trade taken there, I don't see one. Here's Asia. Here's some Asia trades. So this is where it's a wide enough zone. Oh, this is fine, yeah. This is how it marks out, you know, stops and targets, and the yellow line is entry, and pretty cool. Pretty cool. And it's a fairly complicated looking piece of kit. Wait a minute, that's not the thing I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is this. This is the code itself. Got all the elements in it that I thought was important. And that's it. So if that would be helpful to anybody who's interested in that, let me know. I'm happy to share all of this crap. And we never got back to the 50, and we're poking out the bottom some more. You notice that over here? Hope I'm on the right window. Yeah, I am. So we've taken out the bottom, and we're poking back out the bottom, and we never got close to the 25. And we're going to roll over here in another few minutes. So there you have it. We'll see if that thing takes any trades and makes any money. I've never used this program before, this trading view thing. Pretty handy. Looks like to me, I don't know. Well, that mean reversion wouldn't work very well, and neither would the retrace. Is exactly why I don't front run them. Wow. I guess if I would have taken a front run up here, I'd be pretty proud of myself from the 50% line. But Jesus criminy. There's 20 minutes left from there. I don't think that's prudent trading. Prudence. Ooh, Prudence. What a kinky name. Where am I going? What am I looking for? There we go. See if Tweets R Us is burning up the airways or something here. Last night I just happened to jump over and do this, and he was all over everywhere. He was tweeting up a storm or talking or at some whatever, whatever he does. Oh, maybe it was his. No. Yeah, maybe it was the tail end of that fair thing they were doing. I didn't think about that. This looks like the last time he's talking over here. I guess this is him talking. Or usually it says Truth Social or something beside it if it's a tweet. So I don't know. Doesn't look like he's busy tonight, so that's good. Simply because you don't know. Like I said, it's not any kind of a political comment. He's president. He can do whatever he wants, and I'm sure will. But our job as traders today is to preserve our account. And the way that you do that, the fundamental technique for that is risk management. So if there is a potential critical risk out there that you don't know about, you can get blindsided pretty bad. Up or down, either way, depending on how you're positioned, or you don't have a stop, or whatever else. And that's the reason. Now we're going to be rolling into the ORB Dorby here, or the Asia one, pretty quick, which will be now the new evening stream. I'm not going to do this one anymore. Too narrow, too slow, what's the volume? Is it still, they got driving stakes to see this thing moving or what? Yeah, 45%. The way this volume works is this is the average volume looking back over past 20 trading sessions for this time of day. And this is, we are 45% of this average. We're only 15,000 contracts. That's not a lot. And this would be pretty funny. Well, it did scooch out a little bit over here, but not much. Now at the top of the hour, I'll need to change my and have the proper values pushed to IRT, or from IRT to bookmap over here, so that these all align with the new Asian session, the new and improved Asia session. Ooh, baby. Which I will do at the top of the hour. Burp, burp, burp. Let me see if I can get it. Don't have this really said very correctly here. Usually I keep these on 1 point wide, high. There you go. 1 point high. And Blue Boy on the job. Now we know we have the complete session in view, and we have a sense of scale. Yeah, and something about bookmap, if you're, somebody's cruising by here or whatever, be real careful of this active data column. If you have the trade control panel activated and I click over here by accident anywhere, there's going to be a trade or an order I didn't plan on. And I've done that before, trying to roll this column up and down. Be careful. 20 frickin' minutes. Ugh. Painful. Painful. Did I set those? Let me make sure I set that orb and stuff up correctly. Here, let's just check. Yeah, 19 to 20. Okay. Do. Yep. All right. I can't imagine we're going to get a bigger IB than 30 points. 5 points wide might be a little bit. That's, 20 ticks. That might be a little bit much, actually. Well, let's look. What did we have right here? 74 to 57. That's about right. But we also had a big opening range down here on the Globex. Well, let's see. I can always make it real wide. What I wanted to see is if it takes any trades. That's what I'm curious about. So let's make this 50. I mean, what these filters are for is to shut it off if it's too close, and most importantly, the reason I put them in here is to make sure that from a risk management point of view, right? Because remember that these zones are a function of percentages within the IB, 25, or within the orb. So if it's 50 wide, if it's 40 wide, each zone is 10 points. So, yeah. That would be something you don't want to get into in the real world. That's for sure. In other words, if if it's 40 points wide here, each one of these zones is 10 points. 50 is, 12 and a half. Points, not ticks, points. So that could be a real disappointing turn of events, risk management wise. Say you take a long here or a short, whatever. You enter a trade at the 50, it pulls back to the 50, or that's whatever your thing says, pulls back to the 50, and your stop's on the other side of it. Well, that's 40 handles or 20 handles. Not ticks, handles. That's 40 ticks. That's a lot of risk. So that's the first thing you got to remember is risk management. Preserve your account. Oh, and I'm looking at the wrong freaking deal. Sorry about that. I'm on the wrong window. Here's what I'm talking about. I thought I had all that figured out, but maybe not. What I was doing was this right here. I set these minimum filters, minimum, IB, and maximum, and points. Make this 4, that way each one of them is a point. So, and I was just talking about why, and my thinking there, so it's in the journal. And now we're cooking off, selling them off. Probably come down and tag out that the POC. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh, we're not done yet. It's not 1900 yet. Okay. We're still working on the ORB, the Globex. I got all spooked there for a minute that I had forgotten to do my job. And look at us go. So this selling off would have been a cool thing to do, huh? This also bothers me right here, that bookmap, this volume profile will continue to build volume. That's not the location of the POC. This is, because IRT is correct. I don't know how to shut these off. I would like this RTH profile to stop at 1600 and start at 0830, So it's exactly correct, and not be building because the full session is down here trading around here. That's not good. There's nothing I can figure out to do about it. Oops, sorry, I hit the boom with a glass. Well, 10 minutes, we're gonna get this over with, and then I can move these to form up around this Asia one. And then we can see what we can see. And this would have been a lovely trade if any of it would have come to pass. If any of the triggers would have been met in any way, shape, or form, nice. Well, is it? Yeah, it's 10 handles. 10 handles from the 50 to here. That's fine. That's just fine. More, 50 is better, but 10 is just do dandy. I'm tired. Oh, do some pull-up. All right, so I think I have that all figured out now. See how that trades. I mean, to see what it does. And you see the way that's that system is set up in TradingView is it's the stops and the targets and all that are in percentages of the range. So that's better than the fixed idea. I don't know of any way I can set that. I don't think there's any way I can do that in Bookmap. I mean, can look at the values in IRT or in TradingView and then use those values to set the stops and targets. But with the multi-bracket and the rest of it, there's no way I could do that. Automatically, you know. I have a tool over here, which I use for the hedging system, trade management system, where I can put in. This is where I used to put in my before while I was still lazy and I wasn't pushing these levels across. I would just do IB high and low here, and then it would put them in. I could do exactly the same thing for the stops and targets. And this plots out all the hedge stuff. That's another reason I'm doing using the Lucid account, so I can trade size that I want, normal size. I have minimal absolute risk and, very locked in absolute minimum risk, and I have extremely low investment. So, but I can still take payouts. It's not like using a sim, trading on sim or something, where you're just, what is it doing? It's not going anywhere. You never get sim bucks, right? But in this case, you get payouts. So makes sense to me. Oh, the Magic Man! Happy 4th of July, there, my brother. I've just made an executive decision. I'm not doing this ORB anymore. I will start the Asia Globex, but this thing is like watching paint dry, and I have other stuff I could be doing, sleeping, for example, but I'm not going to do this 5 o'clock to 1900 anymore. I'll just pick it up at 1900 for the Asia session. How'd your day go? I'm sure good, huh? Every time I see these tight moves and then it takes off, I think about you and your little box over there. Okay, where am I now? Let's see here. Get my glasses on. So we got 7 minutes to or 6 to the 1900 hour. I'll change the stuff here for the push. The zones. And I'll change the zone for the data. And then we can start this one. 5 big minutes. I'm so excited. Had a nice trade on the based strictly pinned on the data, and I was not standing here. Did not take it. Worked out fine. So that's encouraging in the RTH session. Yeah, well, I'm going to keep looking at Asia for another few days here or whatever, you know, and then if I don't see any meaningful opportunities there, absolutely. Yeah. Do my homework, get breath, go for a walk, get some exercise, you know, take a nap, whatever. Absolutely. Absolutely. Been hotter than stink over here, man. I don't know. Like 98 or something over the weekend. Oh, small green day is great. I was standing here all day and didn't trade, so you know, that's got to stop. I'm going to start. I made made the decision that I'm going to obviously continue with the vetted trades and the initial balance stuff that I have already developed. But in the meantime, if there's trades like the VPOC migration or something that I used to trade basically from discretionary point of view, while I'm working on vetting these other setups, I'm going to take them because I can't just stand here and, you know, go down the drain. I'm not losing anything, but I'm not making anything. So I can't do that anymore. And that might bite me in the ass. I don't know. Or maybe just be monkey boy talking, but I need to get this off dead center. So that's going to be a thing. Well, we got about a minute to go here. I think I'll cut over the data. Right here, right now. I managed to get a system coded up for TradingView to trade basically this exact thing based on percentages of the IB and stops and targets and all that kind of thing. Took me a while over the weekend, but it's pretty interesting. I've got it running over there now to see what it does with this live market. And it's going to fire off with the with this Asian orb trade. We'll see what happens. Just for fun, right? But who knows if it works well? Good for me. There we go. Okay. And now we're going to get the new and improved zones over here pretty quick. And I will get the new and improved Asia Blue Boy on the job. Okay, there's the start of this Asian session. It'll start pushing the new stuff here pretty quick. They're already there, but there's no session yet, so we'll see how that unfolds. And I've got to scoot over to Trading View. And there we go. I need to put the new dashboard over there. Boom. Okay, so here's the Asia dashboard. Here's Asia starting to form. This is that trading thing. It should be starting to think. Here's what it did earlier with the dashboard and a bunch of stuff. And it plots. Pretty cool. It plots over here on, like, let me see. Like here's, this is how it plots shorts and entry and stop and all that stuff. And I can set up the levels to, I can set it up to minimum, maximum orb size and what percentages of the range I want it to do stops and targets and all that crap. All the usual stuff. This stuff here. Set up the time zones and the sessions and what I want to do for minimum and maximum and the percentages for the targets and all that stuff. So that was kind of fun. And so that's that. We're going now, and the orb, we don't know which levels put in first. We'll know here in a minute. And I gotta get the this thing. Okay, first things first. MES, 6 months. Got to change this to Asia. Okay. And then we got to change a bunch of custom-y shit there. Okay, that's the rejection. What does it say about weekdays? Well, it says that on Tuesday, we've got an 88% probability we're going to get a single breakout, 8% double, and 3% nada pinata. So the rejection then is whichever formed first. And so far, I'm going to say that the low formed first. Just looking at it. Looking over here, it's starting to plot the zones and the percentages, and there's the low, and it's ahead of that one. So I'm going to say the low formed first so far. I'm so excited. Yeah, take care of yourself. Have a good one. Thanks for dropping by, Magic. Enjoy the game. Mm. Where am I? On the pretty narrow range so far. Definitely the orb low formed first. So far we're 7-point range. Not much. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. Now what? Of course, the dynamic can change any time. All it's got to do is put in a new low, or a new low, and then all of a sudden the high is the first formed. So we just nothing to do but stand by and wait. Stand by. We do have 7 points already, so that's a good thing. Okay. Oh, man, we're not even at the bottom of the hour yet. Oh, painful. Painful. What is going on here? I think we have a lot of music left. Yeah, quite a bit. I don't know what it's sounding like, but we have quite a bit left. Yeah, nice. All right, that's good enough. Don't need to be doing any rabble rousing or boot scooting or anything, so we're all set. I have a dark my office is quiet. I don't have speakers, so if I want to hear that, I need to put on a headset. Basically, it's just for the stream. And I stood here for the longest time before I got the mic and the boom and the mixer and stuff with the headset on and, you know, using that to stream. And after a while, my ears get hot and tired, and I find it much more I'm aware of the surroundings. I can hear when my wife calls or something, I can hear what's going on. And I don't need a lot of extra stuff happening, extraneous, music, noise, or whatever. Come on, push up there, widen this damn thing out. Let's get up to 8 or 10 points here. This is boring. If they don't get it up to at least 8, where we have 2 points per zone, it's going to make it kind of the same sort of pain that that we had a minute ago with the get it widened out here. 5 points, there we go. It's going to be the same situation that we had with the Globex. Yeah, we're going a little bit. Not much. 7. There's 8 points. All right, get up there. Let's do some jumping and bumping here. Now we cooking. There we go. Everybody dance. There. Oh, look at that big one there. What's that big buy all about? Who said what? Who said what to who? Look at that. Did that come out of no place, do you suppose? I suppose somebody said something. Well, we've gotten back, pushed up into the orb range now. We just pushed up into here. This is the orb so far. 10.25 points. Boom. We did bring the orb down to the POC, and that might have been what they were looking for. Bring it down to that POC and then turn around and smack it up. And settlement is 75.91. Right there. Okay, that's all right. There's that POC. Settlement, POC. Yeah, there we go. Well, we haven't even turned the corner yet. Man, oh man. Painful. I don't know. I guess U.S. is playing tonight. Good for them. Good luck, you guys. I'm not following the thing at all, but Magic just dropped through and said he's gonna knock off and go watch the USA game. So I'm assuming he has it all figured out. He's got a real interesting trading. I mean, I don't know all of his trade plan and his ideas, but one of the things he does frequently and has talked about before is he'll take a parameter. Basically, it's an opening range breakout, but he calls it his box. He draws a box around it, a certain, number of minutes or seconds in the open, and then from the open, and then if basic opening range breakout, the real simple one. If it goes above there long, below there short. Don't have any idea what his size is, but he normally will comment about, well, I got paid and now I've got a runner or a couple runners or something. So I'm assuming he's trading, multiple contracts. And that's what you need. That's the way to do it. I got to work on something while I'm standing here. I'll lose my freaking mind. So I'm working on this risk story. What I have going on now is this is some risk thing, and based on the instrument and whether you want ticks or dollars, it'll change all of these parameters. This is not part of it now, and this is basic brackets, right? The risk and the number of contracts, and then it does all the math. I have to figure all this out. I need to have this stuff figured out in front of me before I wade into it. I need to know where I'm going. Well, there's the previous close, so we almost gotten back up to that one. We were there earlier. I mean, we did come down from it, but I think if you squint, the high is just below there, just below the previous value area high. No, it is not. So how the hell can this volume be there? Oh, yeah, it is right there. Football, right under value area high. I was looking at the previous RT chart when I looked over here. Yeah. All right. This is the Blue Boy original, right? It's the first print of the Globex, or the overnight session ETH. This I just slapped on in the meantime because this is pinning out 1900. This is where our Asia session started. Let's get out to 5 minutes here instead of 15. What do you think of that? There we go. And we're still 1 point high. That's good. Okay. Ooh. I'm showing you the wrong window, but you get the point. This is what I was talking about. Here's our Globex high so far, right there. This is Blue Boy original, first print of the ETH, and here we are for just Asia. I'll pull that off when we're done with this, but just so I can reference it real quick. We're not at the bottom of the hour yet. We still got more than 32 minutes left. Ugh. Ugh. Now they've pushed this out substantially, so we got 12 points across there. That's pretty nice. So we've got 3 points per zone. So two of those zones is 6 points, right? So if it pulls back to the 50 and you get a move off of that, that's 6 points. That's reasonable risk on, return on risk. And we haven't changed the dynamic of the first formed level yet. It's still below. That has impact. Still over here. We got to get. We'll have to have the ending zone, and then we can start looking at the other stuff. Oh, there we go. Thank God we finally turned the corner. We're in the home stretch. We're in the clubhouse turn right now. For the orb. Not having anything to do with the end of the session, but the orb will set in another 29 minutes. Could be. That didn't make any sense. Hold on a minute. Found the right window? Yeah. Okay, great. The NQ is just selling them down. Like a good boy should. You know, this thing is just waffling along up here. The NQ is just selling them right on down. I'm not sure I got this math going right. I'm gonna have to revisit this when I'm not training. Okay, here we come. 20 minutes. Now they're going to monkey around here and put in a new low, and then it's going to flip the whole damn thing on its head. Well, it's perfectly fine, of course, but all of a sudden the dynamic will be the high form first. Big deal. There we go. Boom. No, they didn't push through it. Look at there. Now they're gonna. Come on, guys. Get out and push. Everybody out. You'd think it's gonna just go. Boop. Well, that's pretty funny. Look at that. Just tagged it off and didn't take it down yet. They're just going to reload, I guess, and take another run at it, probably. So we'll see what this data does. And yeah, at least they're out to 12 points. Excuse me. So we get 3 points on the zones. They can't get through that low volume node right there, huh? From today. Nobody wanted to be there, I guess. All right. The boss is calling. I'll be right back. They still can't push through that low, huh? That's amazing. Yeah, so welcome to Jigsaw Trading. This is my Globex stream. The typical stream is every morning, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time until 1500. That's the cash market with a half hour pre-market before that. And then the idea here is that everything that's captured on my video on my two primary screens or monitors is captured in the video, and then my voiceover provides insight as to what I'm thinking. So it makes for a perfect, complete, transparent, and fully accountable journal. Like and subscribe. Thanks. All right, we're getting ready for dinner here, so I'm going to make sure everything's working, and it is. So there we go. I'll be back pretty quick, I think. Having fun here, huh? Let's see what's going on in the other world. Now, in hindsight, all of these things look really good, right? So there's the breakout. Didn't pull back even to the 25, which is the trigger. Still a beautiful looking trade. Would have been. That's the problem with rearview mirror trading. That's the problem with rearview mirror trading. Exactly. Nothing more needs to be said. Well, that's a whole lot of nothing. We're past the Great Divide, of course. And now what I'm going to do is nuke this. Whoops, where'd it go? Remove it. Where did the remove? Wait a minute. So we know where we are. And this is typical. There's the orb set. We have our, wait a minute. So the opening range is down here in the 75 to 100 zone because the orb low was put in first. Wait a minute. Oh no, okay, so it's in the good zone. It's 25 to 50. I'm not looking very close here. I'm still in a food coma, I guess. So let's get back over here and let's go like this and let's go like this. And let's go over here. There we go. Bong, bang. There we have it. So the high was put in first. So we have a 75% probability we're going to take out the orb low first. Then after that, who knows what. And here we are. I don't think front running is a good idea, so I'm not going to do it. That, I think, catches me up after my dinner. Do I think we're going to take the orb low? Yeah, because we're here now. We got about a 1.5 points to get there. So then after that, we need to look at the retracements. And those are going to be, if we take the orb low first, and it's so, I need to set these customs up every damn time. Tuesday. On a Tuesday, and we take the orb low first, we got a 60% probability, 58% probability we're going to pull back to the 25, and a 41% we're going to get to the 50. So what does that mean? That means that if we take this low out, there's a 58% probability we're going to pull back to the 25 zone. And 41%, 42%, we're going to pull back to the 50. So I will, if we take this out and we start trading back, I'll put a resting order up here for short, above the 50. And the hell with it. We've got this liquidity down here at 76 below us. It keeps coming in and out. I'm full. I want to go to bed, you know, all that stuff, all that important stuff. The cat's stretching and looking at me like, talk a little softer, you're waking me up. Okay. And the problem with this Asia orb is it could go on until 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the problem. What I've done over here is I've tried to contain it to 12:05, just after midnight, because what I discovered was, or at least I think I did, this works a lot better if it turns midnight, turns to the next day. Now, I could be crazy about that, but that's what I think. What I'd like to have it be is like, 9 or 10 o'clock. So it's, if these things are going to happen, they're going to happen within my scope, just like I have with the Globex. And it's kind of hard to edit these. Show you what I mean. Chicago, Asia, 1900 to 05. So if I want to drop this down from 05 to like 1900 to say 2100. Where'd it go? Oh, it doesn't have time. Jesus, you kidding me? Oh yeah, here we go. I say it's got to be correct time. So let's put this at say 2100. That would be my time zone. And let's see what that does. Not too bad. That's still working okay. Assuming that it works. What am I doing? Okay. So that would mean, that would say there's an 85% probability we'd get back to the 25, and only 14% that we get to the 50. Big difference, huh? That suits me if that's correct. because that's what I want. Let's see what it does for day of the week. Oh yeah, that works okay, I guess. And rejection. Okay. We're only looking at 6 months of data too, so. This thing is doing nothing. And I don't think my super duper trading system has done anything either. It probably shouldn't, because has not been a breakout yet. They're going to break out here pretty quick from the looks of it, though. Okay, so they did break them out. Yep, and they closed a low. Now, we should be looking for 85% probability that we're going to retrace to the 25 zone. And only 14% to the 50. Assuming this is all happening here. I don't know whether it makes any sense to try to encapsulate this period of time. You know, I'm not sure about that. But the problem is there's only three points per zone. So if it only pulls back to the 25, that's only 3 points back down to the IB or the ORB low. Not a lot of profit potential there. Now, back to the 50 is a whole other story, but that's off the table if you want to believe the statistics. And it's going the other way. So there you think. I don't know. Well, it's going the wrong way. So there you go. And it's 8:30. Do I expect it to come back up, pull back up to the 25? I kind of doubt it, but you never know. Well, they're going the wrong way. Nobody asked my opinion, of course, but I think I'm going to, I'll keep this running until the top of the hour, but I can't imagine they're going to pull it back, and I'm going to get about what other things I've got to do, other chores I got to do here. Oh, here we are. Here we are getting back to the pullback now. Okay. A lot of POCs right there, huh? That's just touching base right on the IB high, the previous IB low, I should say. This is a real hard one for me because I have a real problem putting a trade on in the POC. That's like diddle middle, right? That's the wrong thing to do. So I'm a little bit, well, I'm not a little bit, I'm a lot conflicted here. This doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess that's the current. Okay, that's the current bar. This doesn't make any sense to any of my normal risk management or trade management plans to short going right into the into both POCs. That doesn't make sense at all. Much as I hate to say that. All right, so I'm going to pull the plug here at the top of the hour, and I'm not taking this pullback trade because it's going to trade on top of two POCs in the direction of two POCs, which would be short. And there's no, the context of the session is down completely. So yeah, this is a missed opportunity, I guess, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna trade because Monkey Boy is suggesting that's a good idea. So I'm gonna have to just stand by here, pull the plug at the top of the hour, and wish you a fond farewell from the Globex stream, the usual risk-neutral trading stream in the morning. Every trading day morning at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time until 1500. It's the full 30 minutes pre-market, set all the software, get the statistics, analyze the the overnight, and then it's the full cash market from until 1500 in the afternoon. That's what I'm going to stick with. I think this is just, and this may break lower and just turn out to be a fantastic trade, and it may not, but it's just rubs me the wrong way. It goes against my trade plan, basic trade plan elements to trade into a POCs. There's no range requirement at all. Not a good idea, and we're only talking 3 points between the zones, so on top of everything else, targeting the low, it's only 3 points to the low. So that doesn't strike me as very smart. And we're not supposed to get up to the 50% mark. I mean, there's only a 12% probability we're going to get there. Now, it looks to me that 14% is probably going to get made, I would say, right here. And we definitely did this one, and here we are. Here we come here. So we've got 4 more minutes, and it's probably going to break down and go exactly in the direction anticipated, but it just doesn't make any sense to me to do that. I don't think it makes sense to break the rules. So we got 3.5 minutes, and again, thanks a lot for coming by. This is basically an extension of my typical homework period, so it's not a problem for me, but I'm not going to be putting on trades just for the hell of it. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here at the top of the hour, and then I'm back at 0800 Central Standard Time in the morning for the normal RTH session stream. I've got to do my tidy up homework here and get that stream created. And we may well, as I said, we may well sell off and go just in the direction of the trade, of the context. But I'm not prepared to be going short into 2 POCs. I just don't think that makes any sense. And it may pan out, of course, to be fantastic. But maybe I'm just a wuss, I guess. So, another few seconds here, and thanks a lot for coming by. I appreciate it a lot. If you did, like and subscribe, of course. If you didn't come by, well, I'm glad you had something better to do. This was, these evening streams, this is homework and this is boring pretty much, but that's kind of the way trading is. Now it's going to break down and probably go ripping right out the bottom. And I'll be forever disappointed that I didn't take the trade. No, I will not. And we're going to be done in about 5 seconds, so have yourself a great evening. There we go. Have a great evening. I am going to get this put to bed and get scheduled for in the morning and get my chores done, and then I'm going to get to bed, so have a great one. Thanks for coming by. Risk neutral trading every trading day.